there, welcome back to Storybook Crochet. In today's video we are going to be making this candy corn jellyfish, and this is the first in a series of 5 Halloween jellyfish that I will be recording. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and that bell notification, because that's going to notify you as soon as the next video is up. So like I said, this is the first of 5 Halloween jellyfish that we will be making. So for today's video, you're going to want 3 colors. You're going to want white, yellow, and orange, and I am using worsted yarn today. I am using a 3.5 or E hook. You're going to want some scissors, a yarn needle, a stitch marker, and then I am using 20mm safety eyes for today's project. And then of course you're going to want to grab some Fiberfill to stuff your jellyfish with. So go ahead and grab your supplies and we will get started. Okay, to start out, we're going to go ahead and make a magic ring. And in this magic ring, we are going to make 6 single crochets. All right, once you have those 6 made, go ahead and close the opening there. And that will complete round number 1. So for round number 2, we're going to increase a round. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch. So go into your first stitch here, and you're going to make 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets. And then you're just going to repeat that in each stitch around. So 2 single crochets in each stitch, or an increase. And at the end of round 2, you'll have 12 single crochets made. All right, moving on to round number 3, we're going to start out with 1 single crochet in the first stitch. And then we'll increase in the next stitch. So put your 2 single crochets in that second stitch. And then we're going to just repeat that pattern around. So in the next one, we'll put 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next. Okay, moving on to round number 4, we're going to make 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then increase in your second stitch. Okay, once you have those 2 made, we're going to repeat 2 single crochets and then increase in the third around. So in the next 2, you're going to make 1 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet, and then increase in that third stitch. So with every other round here for our increase rounds, we're going to be staggering our increased stitches so they don't increase in the same spot each time. This will make it a little bit more rounder and not have kind of like pointed edges once we get our circle done. So again, you're going to make 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, increase. Once you have that last increase made, you'll have 1 stitch left, and we're just going to put 1 single crochet in that last stitch. So moving on to round number 5, we're going to make 3 single crochets and increase in the 4th stitch. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 single crochets, and then increase. And you'll just repeat that around, 3 single crochets and increase. For round 6, we're going to start out by making 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. You're going to then make your next or your first increase. So put 2 stitches in that next stitch there. So again, that's 2 single crochets, increase. After that increase, we're then going to do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you'll make your increase. So you'll repeat that around, 4 single crochets, then increase. At the end, you're going to have 2 stitches left after your last increase, and you'll just make 2 single crochets over those last 2 stitches. Round number 7, we're going to make 5 single crochets and then increase in the 6th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then increase. Then you'll just repeat that around, 5 single crochets and increase. Round 8 is our last increase round. We're going to start out by making 3 single crochets. Once you have those 3 single crochets made, go ahead and make your first increase. After that, we're going to then do 6 single crochets and then increase in the 7th stitch. So make your 6 single crochets and then increase all the way around. At the end, you will have 3 stitches left, and you'll just make 3 single crochets in those last 3 stitches. Moving on to round 9, this is going to be our last round of white, so we're going to change to orange in the next round. For round 9, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so there's no increases in this round. So just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. At the end of round 9, you'll have a total of 48 single crochets made. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and change to orange. So how we do this is we're going to undo this last stitch we made. We're just going to pull that out to where these 2 loops are sticking up, and go ahead and insert your hook back into those loops. Okay, you're going to grab your orange yarn, grab it with your hook, and pull it through both loops. Okay, and that changes the color for us. So next, we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Now I take the tails and I crochet around those for a few stitches. That just helps to secure those so that doesn't come undone. So insert your hook, have the tails on top of your hook here, grab your yarn, pull it through, and then make your single crochet like normal, crocheting around those tails. And like I said, for this round, we're just putting 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Once I have that done for a few stitches, I go ahead and cut the white. We're not going to need that for the rest of the main part of the body here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my stitch marker and put that back in. Okay, so for rounds 10 through 15, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. That'll be a total of 6 rounds. Each round will consist of 48 single crochets made. So I'm going to go ahead and make my rounds 10 through 15, and I will meet you back at the end of that round. Okay, so at the end of round 15, this is what our jellyfish should look like so far. So we're now going to go ahead and change to our yellow. So we're going to do that the exact same way we did before. So in that last stitch of the last round of round 15, go ahead and just have your 2 loops on your hook there. Grab your yellow yarn and then pull that through both loops there. Okay, and so for round number 16, we're going to again just put 1 single crochet in each stitch, making sure that you crochet a few stitches over those tails there to go ahead and weave those in as you go. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and cut that orange yarn, and we'll just be using the yellow now. So go ahead and make your 1 single crochet in each stitch around for round number 16. Okay, so moving on to round number 17, we're going to start our decrease round. So for the first part of round 17, we're going to make 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So after those 3, we're going to go ahead and decrease over the next 2 stitches here. So we're going to insert our hook into the front loop only of the next stitch. And we're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to insert our hook into the next front loop only, pull up a loop. At this point, you're going to have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that turned those 2 stitches into 1. Okay, after we make our decrease, we're then going to do 6 single crochets. Once your 6 single crochets are made, you're going to make another decrease, and I'll show you that one more time. So insert your hook into the front loop only, pull up your loop, insert your hook into the next front loop only, pull up your loop. You have 3 loops on your hook now. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so you'll repeat that around, 6 single crochets and then decrease. After your last decrease, you'll have 3 stitches left at the end of the round. Just put 1 single crochet at each of those last 3 stitches. Moving on to round 18, now we're going to make 5 single crochets and then decrease. So 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then decrease over those next 2. Round number 19 is going to be our last decrease round. So for this one, we're going to start out with 2 single crochets and then decrease. After you make your 2 single crochets and decrease, then you're going to repeat 4 single crochets and then decrease around. So as I said, repeat that around. After your last decrease, you'll have 2 stitches left at the end of the round, and you'll just make 2 single crochets in those last. Okay, so this is what our jellyfish looks like so far. So at this point, let's go ahead and grab our eyes and we'll get those attached. So I am using 20mm eyes for this, but you pick whatever size looks right for yours. So I put them right where the yellow and the orange meet. So go ahead and insert your first eye. And then before you put the back on, go ahead and find where you want to put your next eye. So I'm going to space them out. I think that looks pretty good. Like that. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stitches between both eyes. Okay, so go ahead and grab your backs and get those attached. Okay, and that's what that should look like at this point. We're going to go ahead and grab some white yarn and line these before we move on. So go ahead and cut a small length of white yarn, so about this much, and your yarn needle. Okay, and then I just come up right at the bottom here of each eye, pull your yarn up, and then I'm going to come up not quite all the way to the top, but just a little bit, maybe one more row down to the side, and then pull that. Okay, and that's what that should look like. And then come up through the bottom of the next eye, and then come up at the same spot for that eye. Okay, and that just lines the eyes, and I just feel like that gives it a little bit more character. And so to finish that off, I just tie the two ends together really good and make a few knots so that it doesn't come undone. Okay, and then no need to cut that. You can just stuff that into the center there. And that's what the eyes should look like. Okay, so moving on to round 20, we are going to start making the little ruffles at the bottom of the jellyfish. So for this round, we're going to work in the front loop only. So normally we'd go under both loops here. For this entire round, you're only going to work under that front loop. So your hook will go in between the two loops with that front loop on your hook. Okay? So for the next round after that, we will work in that back loop. That's why we need to leave that loop alone. So for this round, we're going to start out with a slip stitch in the first stitch here. So you're just going to grab your yarn, pull it under that front loop, and then pull it through the loop on your hook. Make your slip stitch, and then in the next stitch, we're going to put 3 single crochets in that front loop only. So 1, 2, and 3, all in that same front loop. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat that around. So under that front loop only, you're going to make a slip stitch in the next stitch. And then in the next, under the front loop only, you're going to make your 3 single crochets. Okay, so repeat that around and I will meet you. Alright, so moving on to round 21, we're going to work in that back loop that we left open from the last round. So you're going to go find that first back loop that's available there, and we're just going to single crochet around. So you're going to go into each back loop and make a single crochet. So at the end of this round, you are going to have a total of 30 single crochets made. Okay, so now that we've finished our single crochet round, for round 22, we're going to repeat that process again. We're going to make one more row of ruffles here. So you're going to go into that first front loop only. So this round is all in the front loop. Make your slip stitch, and then in the next front loop, make your 3 single crochets. And just repeat that around until you get back to the end of round number 22. Okay, so here's what our ruffles should look like at this point. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and grab some Fiberfill and start stuffing this. And you might have to add more with each decrease round that we do now, just to fill that in a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick the next round, which is going to be round number 23, and we're going to start decreasing to close this opening. Okay, so we're going to work in those back loops again that we have left open from the last round. So go ahead and find that first back loop there, and then you're just going to make 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to decrease, so insert your hook into the next one, pull up your loop, insert your hook into the next one, pull up your loop, and then pull through all 3. So just repeat that around, 3 single crochets and then decrease. All right, so go ahead and add more Fiberfill if you need to go ahead and fill that all the way in. It should look nice and round. So for the next round, which will be round 24, we're going to make 2 single crochets. So go into that next stitch, 1 and 2, and then decrease over the next 2. And this time you can go through both loops, or you can just do the front loop only to make more of like an invisible decrease. It just makes it not so noticeable when you decrease using the front loops only. So again, 2 single crochets and decrease around. All right, and round 25, we're going to do the same thing. So just go 1 single crochet this time and then decrease. And just repeat that around. So 1 single crochet and decrease around. Okay, and for our very last round, we're just going to make 6 decreases around. So go into those first 2 and decrease, and just repeat that until you have 6 stitches left. All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and finish it off. So go ahead and slip stitch into that next stitch there. Pull that through your loop, pull a loop up, and cut your tail. And we're just going to weave this in. So pull that through your loop, grab your yarn needle, and then I just go up through the next front loop and out the next one. And you're going to do that around until you cinch that closed completely. Okay, and when you're done, I just weave it back and forth through the base here a couple of times. Come out the other side. That way that's good and secure, and then go ahead and cut that tail off. Alright, so here is the top portion of our jellyfish, and next we are going to make the tentacles. Okay, so at this point we're going to move on and make the tentacles, and we're going to start with the curly tentacles, and those will all be made in white, and you're going to make 3 of these. So I've already made 2, and I'll show you how to make one here with my third one. So you're going to want to go ahead and chain 36. So to make them curly, you're going to then, after you have your chain of 36, go into that next loop there, and I just go under this back loop, this top loop here, for each stitch across. You're going to make 3 single crochets in each stitch, and that's what's going to give you that curly Q effect. So again, 3 single crochets in each stitch across. So at the end of this, you will have a total of 108 single crochets made. So go ahead and finish your curly Qs, make 3 of them, and then I'll show you how to make the straight tentacles. Alright, so the next part, we're going to make these straight tentacles, although they do curl up a little bit, and that's fine. I think that adds to the aesthetic of it. So you're going to make 2 yellow and 2 orange. Okay, so I've already made those 3. So the first thing you're going to want to do is chain 21. After you make your chain of 21, you're going to go into that second chain from your hook, and you're just going to simply single crochet across your chain. 1 single crochet in each chain across. So at the end of this chain, you will have 20 single crochets made. So go ahead and make your 2 orange and your 2 yellow, and then I will show you how to sew them onto the jellyfish. Alright, so at this point we have all of our tentacles made. The very first thing you're going to want to do is grab those short tails in your yarn needle and weave those in through your tentacles so those are out of the way. So I just kind of go up through the single crochets I made. And then I weave them back through one more time. And then you're just going to want to cut that off. So all you have left is the long tail that we'll use to sew onto the jellyfish. So go ahead and weave in all those short ends, and then we will attach these to the base of our jellyfish. Okay, so we're going to start sewing on the tentacles now. So I'm going to start with the white, and I put the white ones in the middle, so I'll put like one here and then two here. And then after that, with the yellow and the orange, I just put like a yellow, an orange, a yellow, and orange along the outside edge. So I'll just show you how to sew the one on, and then you can sew the rest of them on. So just grab your yarn needle, thread your yarn through, and then just come up through the stitch where you want that particular tentacle to be. Pull it through, and then I come up through the stitch next to it and come up through another stitch on the tentacle, just so you have 2 points there where it's sewn on. After that, I just go ahead and weave in the end of the tail here through the tentacle itself, like that, and then I come back through again, so it's weaved in twice. And then just cut your yarn. Okay, so there's one tentacle sewn on. So again, I put the next two white ones here in the middle, and then just alternate the yellow and orange around the outside edge. Okay, our jellyfish is finished. I hope you really enjoyed this pattern. You want to stay tuned because I have 4 more Halloween jellyfish coming out here on YouTube. I'm going to be making a witch, a ghost, a zombie, and a pumpkin jellyfish. So if you don't want to miss those, make sure you subscribe and then hit that bell icon, because that will notify you as soon as a new video is available. So you want to stay tuned so you have the full set. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed the pattern, and I will see you in the next video.